Oh, shoot. Oh, heck. Now I gotta talk about this film now. Hello, guys. My name is NH Studio Lounge Show, and I am not very excited to talk about this terrible movie. That's why I am doing my top 10 worst movie of 2025. These are the movie I just couldn't freaking stand. This movie has some terrible written story, unlikable characters except Rachel Zegler, and of course the visual of this movie make you want to close your eyes, just like I just did at the Coca-Cola AI when I went to saw Fire and Hash, which enough showing that Coca-Cola AI fuck fest. But before we get into heck, I got some dishonored to mention. These older movies are so god awful, and it didn't quite make a list. So the first movie is in my dishonored mention, which netted the movie that started of the female president in this Amazon movie, which netted G20. If you don't know what this movie is basically like it's an action movie of the president, like the female president and kicking God in the behind. And of course you got the villain of this movie is not a surprise. Some people would say it is just WOKE. Well, I'm not gonna say it because that is really immature and that is so freaking stupid. But even I think my number one worst movie of the year is way was Amazon movie more than G20. But this film was absolutely terrible. And I'll talk about more about this movie on the John Wick fan live stream. And please give this guy a better performance. I don't want to see another character play as a villain. Why not he play as a hero? That's a much better than him playing as a villain, because that's disrespectful to gender. Anyway, so the another movie is in my dishonorable mention, which I know you're all gonna hate me saying this, but the Snow White remake. Yeah, I had to put this film as my dishonorable mention because I don't think this film is not as bad as much as the other Disney live action remake, like the live action remake, though. That's way worse than the live action Snow White movie. And yeah, sure, the CGI dwarf is so freaking ugly, and even the evil queen, aka Gal Gadot, was absolutely the worst character in this movie. And even that the Evil Queen song was absolutely hard to watch, and I couldn't freaking stand it. But at least Rachel Zegler saved this movie for me, and even that Wish song is the best song in the entire movie. But overall, that doesn't change the fact that this film had one of the worst box office number, it had one of the worst rating on IMDb, even worse than Disaster Movie, and this film had one of the worst reveal of the year, which, yeah, Disney, do better with your live action remake. I mean it. Anyway, guys, so the other movie is in my dishonored mention, which I know you all gonna hate me, but I have to say this, but I am not a huge fan of the Final Destination Bloodline. I definitely agree with Starboy. This is hand down one of the most overrated movie of the year and might be the most overrated movie of all time. Well, not as overrated as much as no No Hard Feeling and even Spider-Man 3 is not as bad as those two terrible movies on my overrated. And even The Queen or way was in Final Destination Bloodline. But honestly, I understand that people really enjoy this movie because this film is the final movie that Tony Todd would ever be as William before he sadly passed away, maybe by cancer or something, because he made rest in peace, man. He was such a great actor. Dude, let's give him the moment of silence of the passing of the legendary Tony Todd, which is all Candyman. We'll all be missed, Fallen. We'll all be missed, Candyman. But just because it's the last movie that Tony Todd would ever be, that doesn't change the fact that this movie was absolutely hard to watch. Like, this film was hard to watch. Like, I do not care that if I hear any people that say, "Hey Nick, what about the death scene in this movie?" Well, the death scene is so cartoony, man. Like, seriously, when they opened in the movie, when they did a death scene in the Tower of Restaurant, like, honestly, the good thing I was not in this movie. But honestly, I think the worst scene of this movie, which then they have audacity to play Stronger by Kelly Clarkson. I am not joking. Look at on IMDb, and I will be using that song for the anniversary instead of using the trailer song. Like, that is Dude, that is really disrespectful by putting a freaking pop music that came out in 2011 and you see the one character die in this movie. You know what? Frick this movie, and I'll do a rant of this movie next show for one about a month next show. Stay tuned for that. In my last movie, in my dishonored mention, which is none other than Dogman. More I think about this movie, I'm just not a huge fan of this movie, and this might be the second most overrated movie of the year, actually. Well, might not be, actually, because I think some people are not a huge fan of this movie. But honestly, and that's why I think of The Bad Guys 2 is the only DreamWorks movie I enjoy, along with the live action How to Train Your Dragon, or much better DreamWorks movie of 2025, more than Dogman and Gabby Dollhouse. I ain't watching Gabby Dollhouse, and you guys cannot force me to. Anyway, guys, enough further ado. Plug your nose, and let's get ready to talk about this stinker. Let's get to it. Coming in number 10, what's another than Lilo and Stitch remake? Man, screw this movie, because more I think about this movie just got worse since the dawn of time. But honestly, guys, the main reason why I think this film is way worse than the Snow White remake, guys, let me tell you something. Because at least the Snow White remake, at least that movie was kind of bad, but not as bad as that you would expect it to be. But this movie is just as bad as much as the Snow White remake. And yeah, and this film it's making me want to fan the Snow White remake starring Rachel Zegler, because that movie is kind of bad, but not all the way bad. I was just saying, I was just saying. Anyway, so the live action Lilo and Stitch, this is hand down one of the most manipulated movie that people will ever enjoy. Like, honestly, if you really enjoy the live action Lilo and Stitch, I can hand your opinion a pain to handle. But for me, I just couldn't freaking stand it. But the main reason why this film is in my top 10 instead of the lower, well, is because this movie has some pros. Like, the cinematography looks good. Like, I really enjoy the cinematography of this movie. And the CGI of the alien looks pretty good, especially for Stitch, man. And of course, the actor that he played as Stitch, he will always be our Stitch. But that doesn't change the fact that this film has some unlikable character except Leo and Stitch. And of course, the acting of this movie of human character except Leo was absolutely raspberry in my opinion. But I think the worst human character of this movie was Neda Nana. Nana, come on, that is not Nada. Nada, she was really awful sister in this movie. But I think the worst scene of this movie was than she ditched Leo by going to college. Do you not know there was a quote of this movie? Or I don't know, Hamami family? Hamami family, you always stick together. Not freaking ditching your sister by going to freaking college. Yeah, screw this movie in the anus. And if I watch The Final Awakening, I'm pretty darn sure that The Final Awakening is gonna be a lot better than this overrated trash. Anyway, so yeah, coming to number 9, what's Ned and Happy Gilmore 2? Yes, I did watch this movie with my parent, and oh my god, this film was exactly I thought this film was going to be. Like, seriously, that is a huge disrespectful that the actor, that he was in the first Happy Gilmore movie. No, I'm not talking about Adam Sandler, like, he's still alive. No, I'm talking about the actor that he was in Toy Story of Terror, Rocky movie, and of course the Mandalorians as the side characters. Which, yeah, honestly, what's another than, maybe Colorado, man, I think? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that is really disrespectful to honor of his legacy. And he might be worried from this grave because of this movie right there. Because he was in the first movie. One sequence of the first movie when Adam Sandler said, "You're gonna die, clown? I don't want to hear you laugh anymore." And you see the other guy say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, man." Honestly, in this film, you don't have that funniest moment of this movie, because this film was really unfunny. Adam Sandler was really god awful in this movie, and yeah, if you want to watch a way better Adam Sandler movie, just go watch the first Happy Gilmore. Go watch the Hotel Transylvania, except the fourth one, because the fourth one doesn't even count. And of course, go watch Uncut Jam. Uncut Jam will always be better Adam Sandler movie more than Leo and Happy Gilmore 2. Anyway, guys, so that's why Happy Gilmore 2 is in the number 9. Now let's get to the number 8. Okay, who in the white mind want to see a horror movie of the black and white Mickey Mouse with a steamboat? Come on, man, that is stupid. So do you understand that Mousetrap was the worst one? Well, when this movie came out this year, you already know this film is just as bad as much as every single movie based on cartoon characters as a horror character. That is stupid, you ask me. Anyway, guys, so coming to number 8, which is none other than Screenboat. Not Steamboat, Screenboat. Why, this film was sorry, yeah, this film was basically like it's a cheap version of the horror movies. And who made this movie, actually? Yeah, who made this movie? Oh, yeah, it's from the same director who brought you the main one. Like, you already know that film was going to be a piece of garbage. Well, it's because of the fact that you have the same director who brought you the main one. And I'm not watching the main one, and you cannot force me to. But anyway, yeah, the jump scare of this movie was so freaking stupid. And of course, the acting of this movie, my god, the acting of this movie, they are not a real cast. Honestly, this is kind of remind me that you find people in the street. Yeah, that's how bad it is, actually. So honestly, yeah, who's in this movie? Oh. It's just some celebrity which I don't know about. And the actor that he's a voice Mickey Mouse of this movie, man, Mickey Mouse actor, which is the original actor that he was in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, yeah, he is rolled from his grave. And how disrespectful that this film is based on that 1928 animated short film. Like, when Mickey Mouse say, "Woo, woo, woo, woo." Well, even I can't whistle because I'm so bad at it. Like, yeah, this movie got a 51%, and this film got a 4.1 out of 10 on IMDb, which I don't blame them because this movie can go kiss my butt, and that's why this film is in my number 8. But honestly, I just think this film is way worse than Screamboat. Yeah, coming in number 7, which is none other than The Woman in the Yard. Oh my god. Who in the right mind want to see a horror movie of a girl who's stalking people? Like, we already have that for one of the worst movie of the year, which I'll get to it in a minute. But yeah, the jump scare of this movie, is so freaking stupid and very hard to watch, actually. Oh yeah, honestly, hold on a minute. Is this my number? Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Yeah, something. But yeah, this film was absolutely generic, and this might be one of the second worst Blumhouse movie I ever seen. But I think Halloween End is way worse than A Woman in the Yard. Or should I like to call it The Woman of the Stocking? Yup, instead of Woman in the Yard, you call Woman in the Stocking. But the ending of this movie, I am not joking to y'all, because when you see the ending of this movie, when they end this film, you'll be like, really? That's how you end? But honestly, this film is giving me a final this movie is giving me a The Devil Inside reaction over again. Why, not just they say boo to the ending of The Devil Inside, and I can't stand that freaking movie, but yeah, there was a news article that people would say boo and throw popcorn at the screen. Like, oh my goodness, the ending of this movie was so bad. Like, really? That's how you ended? So yeah, this film was really forgettable. I didn't remember about this movie, and yes, note, I did watch this movie, and this film was really hard to watch. So that's why this film is in my number 7. Now let's get to the number 6. So I'm just getting sick of tired that you see a bunch of autism people are getting disrespect. Like, first you got music, and now I think this film is way worse than music. So, coming to number 6 is Unbreakable Boy. The same with The Woman in the Yard. I did not remember about this movie. All I remember about this movie, which is in the movie that disrespect autism people. And of course, you got my boy, Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi, are you out of your mind? First, you was in that stupid movie called Harold and the Purple Clowns, and now you're in this movie called Unbreakable Boy? Yeah, I'd rather watch Shazam, Tango, a much better Zachary Levi movie than watching this disrespectful autism piece of crap. But honestly, yeah, that's why this film is in my number 6. Now let's get to the number 5. Alright guys, we're in the top 5. These are the movie I can't freaking stand. Coming in number 5 is Bryce Hart. You gotta be kidding me. I'd rather watch Bridesmaid, which is a lot better than seeing this gold power action woke nonsense. Well, even I can't stand using that term, but I have to say that. But this movie is 100% whoa. Well, yeah. But yeah, so yeah. Do you guys remember how good that Bridesmaid that movie is? And that film was really funny. But this movie was not funny, and no wonder this movie was in the Walmart bargain bin, and people are not buying it. Why? Honestly, I won't be surprised that the fact that this movie will be in a $5 at Walmart, and I'm not buying it. And honestly, when I look at it, I was like, you know what? I'm not buying it. I would have buy a lot better $5 movie. Like I would have buy that Paul Anderson movie. I would have buy a Many Ways to Die in the West, which is the underrated cowboy movie. I highly recommend you watch it. Don't listen to reviews that. I was just saying. And of course, I'd rather pick up a lot better $5 movie, which is Transformers Rise of the Beast, a lot better than picking up this movie for for a $5 movie. And I gotta say this, but this film didn't feel like a movie. This film, it felt like that you found it in a Walmart bargain bin. Like, why this movie is on Amazon, and why this movie is on Disney Plus, why nobody in the why might want to watch this movie on Disney Plus, like, that is really uncomfortable. Yeah, the action of this movie is hilariously bad, and the acting of this movie was kind of acting. Like, the acting of this movie, it can show that the script was written by garbage papers instead of toilet paper. That's really stupid. But honestly, this film was written by garbage, so this film is 100% garbage. And the ending of this movie, man, screw the ending. Yeah, you know what? Screw this movie in the anus. And I gotta say this, but Bridesmaid will always be better. Bryce movie, more than Bryce Hart. And I gotta say this, but I am very sorry, all these Gold Boss movie, but Frozen 2 and K-Pop Demon Hunter will always be better. Gold Boss movie, more than Bryce Hart. Coming in number 4, which is none than Fireworks. Oh my god. When you see the opening scene, when they made that opening scene in AI, you already know this movie is a terrible movie to start in freaking January. But anyway, yeah, this film was absolutely god awful. Like, why on earth did Mark Wahlberg shave his head by doing this movie? I'm not joking to y'all, but when you read a news article, when you see Mark Wahlberg shave his head, like, you put your hat back on. Nobody in the white mind want to see you as a baldness. But honestly, if you want to see him as a baldness, boom, you got it right here. What kind of image is that? And I think it's even worse than that. Get the smile off your face, man. But honestly, and even worse, guys, this movie got a 40x. Nobody in the right mind wants to see a 40x of this freaking movie. But yeah, when you see an AI opening sequence, you already know this film is going to be a piece of garbage, should not exist in the first place. And the action scene of this movie was really hard to watch. And of course, I think the worst character of this movie, which is not in the between with Mark Wahlberg character and Toby Grace. I'm very sorry, but I'm not a huge fan of Toby Grace. First, he was bad in Spider-Man 3, and now he was really honestly bad in this movie. Well, I do think his character in Spider-Man 3 is way worse than his character in this movie, but his character of this movie is such a crybaby. But anyway, guys, so that's why Fireworks is in my number 4, and Mel Gibson, how on earth that we go to Braveheart, and now we go to the movie about a pirate where Mark Wahlberg shaved his head? Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, Mel Gibson, don't you ever do this again. That was embarrassment. Coming in number 3 is The Stranger Chapter 2. You know what? I have had enough of the Stranger franchise, and these movies are not getting better. And yet again, we're getting the third movie, and I am so glad this is going to be the final one. Good with them. But that doesn't change the fact that this film is just even worse than the first one. You already know me, I absolutely despise the first one because the first one was very hard to watch. And this is making me want to grab my DJ and do my DJ and do my DJ instead of watching this piece of garbage. Like, this film is 1 hour and 39 minutes, but this film felt like 3 freaking hours. Like the jump scare of this movie, man, I have had enough of this generic jump scare. Like, can every horror movie to be like Senator? Senator's a much better than this piece of garbage. I would have watched Weapon, I would have watched Senator, and I would have watched some of the horror movie that has a good written story, good likable characters, and has an original concept instead of seeing generic jump scare about a red-haired girl getting scared over a mask. Over a mask. You know what? If you want to watch a way better slasher horror movie, just go watch Friday the 13th and go watch The Nightmare on the Elm Street and go watch the Scream movie and go even watch Hot Eyes. Even I think that film is mediocre. Oh, for God's sake, that film is a lot better than this piece of garbage. You know what? Screw this franchise. I'm not watching the chapter 3 and you cannot force me to. So that's why this film is in my number 3. And the Stranger movie, go fake yourself. Alright, coming to number 2, which is none other than the Smurf. I do not give a quack that my fan base is going he's going to attack me, and I do not care. That Legion Man and Gaming will tell me I take this film way too seriously. But bottom line is, nobody in their right mind wants to see a movie that is retold just like in the 2011 movie. And this film is making me want to defend the 2011 movie. And this film is just as bad as much as the Smurf 1 and the Smurf 2. Like, it can show that the Smurf adaptation or just getting disrespect. But the animation of this movie, I'm very sorry, folks, but the animation of this movie is just so freaking ugly. Like, honestly, this is a huge disrespectful to the Spider-Verse animation. Like the Spider-Verse movie, Wish, the Bad Guy movie, Dogman, and even K-pop Demon Hunter has a much better animation out there more than the Smurf. So doing two people hate Disney Wish, but when you watch this movie, this is making people want to give respect and want to give a huge apology on Disney Wish. And how on earth that Gargamel have a brother? Like, seriously, Paramount, are you out of your mind? Yeah, it just shows that the director who made Shrek the Turd doesn't understand what the Smurf movie is. Right, for God's sake, I would have watched the Smurf Lost Village a lot better than watching this piece of Smurfy crap. And of course, I might give some one pros about this movie. At least the drawing sequence of this movie is the only good thing about this movie. But the animation, the story, and the characters all just paper fan should not exist. And this film is one of my second worst movie of the year. And when you have the director who made Shrek the Turd, that is a bad sign. Now let's get to the number 1 before Aaron will call me about surprise. Now let's get to the number 1. This is a movie I just couldn't freaking stand. Not just it's the worst movie of the year, but this is the second worst movie I have seen in my 24 years of my life since Showgirl. My number 1 worst movie of the year, and it was so bad that I have to rewatch Frozen 2 to get this movie off my chest, which is none other than, drumroll please, World of War. World of War. Screw this movie. I gotta say this. Screw this movie in the behind. Screw this movie in the anus. Like, this film was absolutely terrible. Like, Ice Cube. Come on, what happened to you, man? You were in the first Friday movie. You were in Boy in the Hood. I haven't seen that movie, but I might check it out for Sony Month. You were in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Mutant Mayhem as Superfly. You were so cool. Like, how on earth did we go to Are We There Yet? Friday movie? And even the Book of Life. Yeah, I'm not joking. He was in the Book of Life, and he was so funny in that movie. And he was in Ride Along movie, which I'm not a huge fan of that movie, but I think the sequel is way worse than the first one. But how on earth that we go to him as Superfly, and now we go to his character as the stalking character? Dude, we already have that for Woman in the Yard, and that is even worse. But I think this film is way worse than Woman of the Stalking. But the story of this movie is just so freaking stupid. Yeah, there's basically like Ice Cube characters. I don't care what his name is. I'm gonna call him Ice Cube. Honestly, Yeah, I'll get to the acting in a minute. Yeah, the story of this movie. The story of this movie is basically like Ice Cube sitting in his bottom in his chair and stalking people. I'm sorry, getting on the information. Like I'm very sorry, but if he ever did it, in my opinion, I'm gonna be very angry. And of course, the character of this movie are just paper fan, and the acting. Oh my god. Oh, dude, I'll get to the line right now. There was a one sequence of this movie when the daughter went outside, and when you see Ice Cube character saying, "What are you doing outside?" Oh my, oh no, he say like this, "What are you doing outside?" Come on, that is a terrible acting. Like seriously, this is the type of acting that you found in Batman Robin. And the visual of this movie. Whoever made the visual of this movie needs to be fired. Like, I am not joking, guys. Here, let me show the visual. Like, look at this tripod. What the heck is this? This is not the tripod. Like, these artists need to be fired. Like, dude, this is so freaking ugly. Honestly, if I ever seen this in my movie, I would be, sorry, I am so glad I am a CEO of the NA studio. But I swear to God, if I seen people making these in my movie with my remake of the World of War, I would be like, I'm very sorry, but you butt are fired because that is really bad. That is really bad. That does not look like a tripod. That look like a noodle spot more than a tripod. Okay, that was so freaking disgusting. Like the visual of this movie are just so ugly. Like this has got to be one of the worst visual I ever seen in my life. And of course, the product placement. Oh my god, the product placement. You already know what the product placement is? That's right, it's Amazon. Well, just because this film has some product placement, that doesn't mean it will stop me by doing more product placement. Like, I really enjoy movies that have product placement, even though I don't like Shark Tale, but I don't mind honestly, I don't mind, and I am cool with the product placement in B-movie. But product placements on this one? Heck no. Heck freaking no. Heck no. Anyway, yeah, this film was 1 hour and 29 minutes, but this film felt like 4 freaking hours. Yeah, I just freaking despise this movie. And no wonder this film got one of the worst reviews ever. Like, I rather watch the Snow White remake. Even people hate the Snow White remake. But calling the Snow White remake as the worst movie of the year, I would be like to tell Disney Dimension saying this. Disney Dimension, have you not even seen World of War? World of War is way worse than the Snow White remake, is way worse than G20, is way worse than Dogman, is way worse than Final Destination Bloodline. And it's way worse the movie that I haven't seen. Like, this movie is way worse than him. This movie is way worse than him. This movie is way worse than The Conjuring 4. This movie is way worse than The Roses starting Doctor Strange. And yeah, and this movie is way worse than Kind of Panic. Like, if I watch that movie, that film will be my worst movie of the year, which I decided I'm not watching that movie. And this movie is way worse than Gabby Dollhouse movie. I cannot believe I'm saying this. This movie is way worse than Gabby Dollhouse movie. I ain't watching that movie because that movie just feel kiddish. And, wait a minute, is that the actor that he was in Diary of the Wimpy Kid movie? Oh no, how on earth that we go to his character in Oppenheimer and now we go to his character as an Amazon guy? You know what? Screw this movie, and this movie will go to the heck all I kill. That's why the World of War not just is the worst movie of 2025, but this is the second worst movie I ever seen in my 24 years of my life. And the director who made this movie, you better be ashamed of yourself because that was such embarrassment. Whew. That was a lot of wage, man. That's right, folks. That was my top 10 worst movie of the year. And I'll definitely do my top 10 best movie of the year until on January because I'm going to watch one better after another. I gotta watch Tron Aries. I gotta watch Wicked for Good. I have a huge crush on Rihanna Grande because she is fine as wine. And of course, I gotta watch Weapon. I gotta watch, I don't think Karate Kid Legend is gonna be a good movie. Like, it might be mediocre, but I seriously doubt that, actually. But yeah, I'm probably you guys are thinking right now, hey, honestly, hey, NA Studio, or what about the movie that came out this year? Guys, I am not watching that new Dora movie. I'm not watching Gabby Dollhouse movie. I'm not watching Hurry Up Tomorrow, which I heard that film is freaking god awful. And or maybe it might be surprising as much as A Crazy Night. I don't know. And I am not watching Sneak because that Sneak movie looked like AI genital bullcrap, you ask me. Yeah, screw this movie on my top 10 worst movie of the year, and now let's get to the good stuff. So, fellas, honestly, that was my top 10 worst movie of 2025. I already know that Dakota is going to be disagree with me with my thought on Leon Stage Remake, but guys, if you really enjoy that film, I can hear your opinion. But for me, Final Destination Bloodline and Leon Stage Remake are both tied as the most overrated movie of the year, actually. And there's some of the movie I'm not watching in my lifetime. Like, I refuse to watch Kind of Panic, which that film would be cringe if I ever watched that freaking movie. I'm not watching, maybe I will watch Dragon Ball Rebirth, but I seriously doubt that film would be good. I think the film is going to be terrible, in my opinion. And I don't think Regretting You or even Five Nights at Freddy 2 would be a bad movie, which, if I watched that movie, I would definitely agree with Starboy. And if I hear any people saying that copy Star Wars opinion would be like the one from 2020. Guys, don't give me a flashback, okay? Every time you talk about Frozen Wish Studio, it always give me flashback, and I don't want to think about that. Yeah, I got a much better to do in my time more than putting up with Frozen nonsense along with Alex nonsense, because I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to be like a better YouTuber, actually, at this point. Anyway, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this video before this video get 1 hour, actually. Yeah, thankfully I got that these terrible movie out of my face, and now you excuse me. Now let's talk about the top 10 best movie of the year, which it won't be coming out until in January. So I think my next video, which another then, I will talk about my top 10 most anticipated and my least anticipated movie. And after that, stay tuned for my movie review on The Elvis New Groove. So for the 25th anniversary before this year is over. And for January, stay tuned for my TV show review on It's the Big Big War. Anyway, guys, so this is NH Studio Lounge turning off, and yadios, and you gentlemen and ladies, have a great Enchanted, and the worst movie on my top 10 worst movie of 2025. Go fake yourself.